Hello, 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 and welcome to another open house presented here at Circus Stream. Thank you all so much for joining. Today, we'll be going over our Unity Developer Bootcamp open house. Now, before I do get started, I want to make sure that everyone can hear me and see me. So, in the chat to the right of the screen there, can you please let me know if you can hear me and see me? I see William is typing, Z as well, loud and clear. Thank you, William. All good. Yes. Gavin with a thumbs up. Ismail, all good. Ishmael, yes. Great. Thank you all for letting me know. Super excited to be here today and to invite some of my colleagues who are backstage, as well as one of our alumni, to share more about their journey and experiences. But it's an absolute pleasure to be hosting this today and really helping you all see, a little bit more about the Unity Developer Bootcamp, the industry in general. Where is this going? More about Unity for those who are new to Unity and whatnot. Now, Rodrigo in the chat, will this be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded. And we will send this out to all of those who had registered and attended. So no worries at all. But without further ado, let's continue on here. Quick little introductions for myself here, but I do see David with a question. How long is this event? Great question, David. This is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on the Q&A session we have at the very end here. But for some housekeeping items, you do see that there is a chat to the right there. So feel free to chat amongst yourselves, toss in any comments that you'd like. And at the bottom of your screen, there are a few different kind of tabs you can go through. Now, there's the chat tab, and there's a questions tab as well. So if you have any specific questions for myself, for our director of education, or our veteran tech expert and alumni who's joining us, please do toss your questions in the questions tab, because that allows us to track things better, especially for that Q&A session at the very end. Now, there is also a polls tab at the bottom. And I'll be tossing in polls just to gauge the experience of the audience here. But for instance, I'm going to toss a poll in right now. So if you want to navigate to the polls tab, get familiar with it, check it out. I'm going to publish a poll here, and I'm going to ask you, what industry are you interested in? Are you interested in this technology? If so, where are you looking to apply this technology? And there's so many different ways that you can apply this to other folks and to other areas. I see gaming is a big one, design, UI and UX, film as well. Medical and healthcare is a massive one too, education, manufacturing. But it looks like design is leading the way for our audience here today, with second gaming. But that's the polls tab. Get you a little familiar with that there. But again, let's continue on. My name is Stefan. I lead partnerships here at Circuit Stream. I have over 7 years of experience in the tech industry, working with travel IT companies, learning management system providers, ERP and business integration platforms, and now in the beautiful world of real-time 3D technology, XR, in other words, virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. Now, quick little icebreaker and fact about myself. I did train with the 2008 Beijing Olympic team with Water Polo Canada. Never went to the Olympics, but nonetheless, great experience for young old Steph there. Now, today I will be joined by Jerry Medeiros, our Director of Education here at Circuit Stream. He himself has over 12 years of industry experience, a master's in science and in business administration, with focuses on computer science, artificial intelligence, leadership, and innovation as well. Now, today it's an honor and a pleasure to have Paul Parkinson join us later on. Paul himself is an architect and development advocate at Oracle. He focuses and works on modern application development and database cloud services. And this includes microservices, mobile, XR or virtual reality and augmented reality, alongside so many other things there. Now, Paul himself has been at Oracle for over 20 years. He's built over 25 patents himself and has over 40 years of programming experience. So great guy to shed some insight on the industry, what his journey was, and his recommendations for anyone interested in getting into this. Now, Paul develops both products and a number of workshops for various technologies and industries. And again, it's a pleasure and an honor to have Paul join us later on. So, what's the agenda today? Well, today we'll be showing you and covering more about the Unity Developer Bootcamp. So, we'll do a quick introduction to who is Circus Stream, what does Circus Stream do for anyone who's new to us. Then we'll dive into the Unity 3D engine and the industry in general. And that's going to take about 10 minutes or so. Following that, I'm going to invite Paul on stage to have a nice friendly conversation and to dive into his journey experiences. And when we wrap up with Paul there, we'll really get into the nitty-gritty, getting into the Unity Developer Bootcamp, the content, the curriculum. We'll have Jerry join to share why we've structured it this way, what can you learn, and really what skills can you obtain as well. And then to wrap things up, we'll go over the opportunities and some success stories, how to register for the Unity Developer Bootcamp, and we'll have that live Q&A at the very end as well. So as we're kind of waiting for some more people to trickle in, I do want to share an exciting video here just to give you a little bit more insight as to, what can Unity do and what can you really build with Unity. So here's about a 1 to 2 minute video as we wait for people to join in before we get into the nitty-gritties here. But a great video that I'm going to share that really touches on, what can you build with Unity, not only VR and AR, but so many other experiences and games. Woo! Awesome. So a little taste about Unity there, but before we get into Unity, let's introduce you to Circus Stream. So who is Circus Stream? What do we do? Well, Circus Stream was founded in 2015 when we identified a gap in the demand for education relating to AR, VR, and real-time 3D technology. Now, our goal has always been to share a foundation of knowledge on the best tools, processes, and workflows for Unity, as well as XR design and development. And to date, we've helped over 40,000 learners develop these highly sought after technical skills. Now, what we have here at Circus Stream is a global team of industry experts who are passionate about accelerating the AR and VR industry, as well as the gaming industry through education. And we have team members and instructors all over the world, which helps us accommodate students across multiple time zones and geographies. Now, Circuit Stream is also a Unity training and channel partner, and partners are approved based on their expertise, focus on quality education, and on the demonstrated success of their students. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Unity, they have created one of the most extensive and robust development engines on the market, which we'll shed more light on very shortly. And our instructors maintain the highest level of certification offered by Unity. Now, speaking of certifications, I'm very excited to also share that Circuit Stream is one of the few educators in the space offering XR industry-specific certifications and really preparing you to be certified associate programmers using Unity. But more on that later. So there's really three kind of main programs that we offer here at Circuit Stream. We have an XR development with Unity, an XR design, or in other words, XR interaction design and prototyping with Unity, and our focus today, the Unity Developer Bootcamp. The XR development design are 10 weeks long, but this Developer Bootcamp is 24 weeks long, very intensive, career-oriented to help you get into the industry and have a role as a creator. So focusing on the Unity Developer Bootcamp, stick to the very end alongside these other courses and programs because we have a March Madness sale currently happening, which I'm going to touch on at the very end here. Limited deals until April 4th. So stick around to the end if you're interested in learning more about what deals and specials we have going on for all three programs, including the Unity Developer Bootcamp. So with this, I'm also excited to share that we've been partnering with some of the most well-recognized educational institutions in the world. And our courses and programs are now even more accessible to learners through our university partners. And we've recently started partnering with post-secondary institutions like the University of San Diego, UC Riverside, Syracuse, and Nevada, Reno, as well as some Canadian universities, UBC, U of T, and NAIT as well. With this, who have we actually worked with? Who have we supported? Well, we've trained teams and professionals from some of the largest organizations in the world, such as VMware, Walmart, Hershey's, the chocolate company, even the US Navy, just to name a few. And we work with organizations large and small, right down to the individual learner. So, question for you all here today. I'm going to toss in a poll, and I'd like to know, how much experience do you have with Unity? Have you heard of Unity before? So feel free to navigate to the polls tab. I'm going to publish the poll here right away. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being I've never heard of Unity before, 10 being that you're the Chuck Norris of Unity. How much experience do you have with Unity? So I just published the poll. Feel free to navigate to the polls tab. But curious to know, how much experience do you all have? I see there's some 0s, 2s, 3s, some more experienced folks, the 6s, 7s, and 8s. But it does look like we have, more beginners in the audience here today, which is great because now I'm going to touch on what is Unity. For those of you who said 0, Unity is a free 3D development engine for building games, simulations, and experiences. It's the easiest way to begin making applications and games and experiences, including virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, video games, or even just scenic and really cinematography experiences as well. And to really give you a better idea of the potential things you can build with Unity, I'm going to share a quick little video with you all here again, just touching up on what you can build. So these are going to be some experiences, again, lasting about a minute or so that I do want to share with you all, just to show you what you can build with Unity if you missed it at the beginning there. It gives me the shivers every time. But so many things that you can develop and design with Unity. That was really the goal of these last two videos that I shared with you there. Now, Unity is used to create over 60% of the world's real-time 3D content and applications. And Unity's impact is global. There are 5 billion downloads per month of applications built with Unity. There are over 190 countries and territories in the world that have Unity creators living in them, and over 50% of games across mobile, PC, and console were made with Unity. And lastly, 71% of the top 1,000 mobile games were made with Unity as well. So a really robust engine, large reach, large impact, and a global impact as well. Now, what does the industry and global trends look like for the real-time 3D space? Well, there are so many industries embracing this technology. And, just I saw a few in the polls that had touched up on these industries where you're looking or interested in building content for. But there's media, entertainment, retail, architecture, military has been a huge one for years, automotive, fashion, healthcare, education, and manufacturing, just to name a few. And so many countries are currently growing in real-time 3D and virtual reality, augmented reality. As you can see in this little picture there, the growth is exponential, and it'll just keep growing each year and every year. And to really touch up on that, 23.5 million jobs worldwide will be using augmented and virtual reality by 2030 for training, collaboration, and to provide new digital experiences. And this was from Pricewaterhouse's report, Seeing is Believing. Now, Bloomberg Intelligence also noted that the global metaverse revenue opportunity could approach 800 billion by 2024, in 2024. So just in the next couple of years there. Tip of the iceberg, so much growth in this industry and employing the Unity engine to build these metaverse experiences. And learning real-time 3D skills is an advantage. There's over 400 or 1,400% AR and VR job growth in 2020. There was 601% demand growth for real-time 3D skills and 122% demand for proficiency with engines like Unity, projected to grow in the next 10 years there. So without further ado, I do want to take this time to invite one of our alumni and graduates, a tech veteran, Paul Parkinson, onto the stage here with me today. It's a pleasure and an honor to have Paul join us and really just share more about his experiences and really providing advice and any recommendations for those who are interested in getting into the field. Thanks for joining me, Paul. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. Always a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, hey, Paul, let's dive into the questions here, and I'm actually going to see if I can get us both onto there it is. So now we're both on it. But Paul, tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, and what piqued your interest in learning Unity and diving into XR as well.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So my background is programming, I guess people saw in the intro there. So I was trying to think, when I first started getting into XR and stuff, and I was thinking that when I started programming, I was like 9 years old, and that was 1982. And so in 82, Blade Runner, the Commodore 64, and Tron came out. So right. I think that's what set me up. And so 40 years later, I'm basically, I haven't arrested development. I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, so I've just always been programming, and that kind of XR thing has been, of course, growing over the decades. But now, of course, it's really coming into reality. It's very obvious that all these things are becoming real. These devices and everything are just completely enabling it. So yeah, that's been my journey. I just quickly as far as my career, I did the startup thing at the .com type era in the late 90s. Right. Yep. So I set up. It's was bought by musiciansfriend.com, but it was Music 123.
Okay.
And it was the classic startup experience. So I was sitting on a uh, of the floor of the place that sold musical instruments, coding out this website to make them, yeah. So, but learned so much from that experience and all, and then took it to Oracle, and then I've been in Oracle for 20 years, and I definitely love it there. And I'm actually, it's been core development all the way. And then these last 2 years, I've always given a lot of presentations, multiple conferences a month and things like that. So I transitioned to I got the architect title and then transitioned to a developer advocate. And so that is, working with the developer community, because what has happened, both developers and designers, it's great because the last few years they've been completely empowered because they're the ones making the money decisions now.
Right.
So I speak with CTOs and things like that, but the power is with the developers and designers, which is great. So there's been a shift to that, and I can speak to developers, so it's been great. And of course, there's a shift to the XR market. It's very obvious throughout the industry, of course, but throughout Oracle.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
That makes sense. Okay, so
Yeah.
with that shift into XR, was that one of the biggest reasons why it kind of piqued your interest? I mean, you had that programming experience from before, so obviously the
Right.
new tech and trends piqued your curiosity. So why Unity of all kind of engines? And if you want to touch up on XR, that'd be great too.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I've always been kind of interested, and it's been developing over time. And I did like some, on platformer games and stuff on the side and Unreal and things like that. But yeah, it just became very obvious that Unity was the one that was taking the head on the XR stuff.
Right.
And instead of dabbling, it was now time to, okay, now this is getting pickup in the market and you can start to do some real things. So instead of, dabbling with the Udemy and all that, I was, you take a course, and that's really, just to everybody on this call, I'm not getting paid or anything for this, but it's just such a night and day. You need to take a course, and this, Circuit Stream really is, like I say, I'm not getting paid for this. It's so true. It's it accelerates you because you can't, especially with latest technologies, not to put down books or anything like that, but within a few months, it's going to age off. And, you need to, if you're going to work in these latest technologies, you need to be involved in a community, and be getting that kind of relative picture of everything too, not just going for the tutorial. I want to learn how to do this and then do the tutorial and you're done with it. You can't, it's not going to be efficient whatsoever. So I've always just been interested in XR, and I was trying to be honest, manifest a need for my interest in XR, which I'm sure a lot of us are. It's amazing. The potential is incredible.
Right.
But, it hasn't been too hard to find a demand for it. And every week more and more comes in, and I spend more and more time on XR because of the demand externally. So
that makes sense. No, I appreciate it. So, what have you done after, your time with us? Right. Oracle's kind of looking into XR. You yourself, I believe, spun out something personally. Tell us a little bit more about what you've done afterwards with this.
Yeah, the initial intent was to do something for myself, which was an idea, and then do some consulting.
Right.
But then I'm realizing, Oracle has all these, it was almost an afterthought, really. Oracle has all these technologies that are exactly what are needed on the XR side of things. So I have my side project, which is in particular this timeline project. I love timelines. It's just
right.
That's the fun thing now, and the thing I'm really spending a lot of time on is using the Oracle cloud and database stuff for XR. And so I've been writing blogs and apps for that. So just try quickly, not to go too much into it. Some of the blog content and apps that I've put out are, as I say, going right down the line of technology. So the first thing, and I know there's a lot of, it sounds like from the poll, designers and game developers on here.
Yep.
So what I try and do is make the stuff you don't want to do easy. That's the whole developer advocacy thing. But in my mind, half of technology is the usability, making it simple. So you guys don't want to mess with the multiplayer networking and scaling, you want design. So, making these services easy to use is what I've been, trying to do. And so those include just straight up storage, where you're putting your images, the fastest way to access them, the AI processing of them, what's the relationship, the graph relationship of the like neural networks and things like that. And so this is all analytics, AI, machine language, learning and things like that. But the scenarios that I've created as far as blogs and apps are the online store, of the future, where you see the food, you grab it, you can rotate it with your eye gaze, you say where you want it delivered, and you get a 3D map to see everything. Like I say, the graph analytics is another one. And Oracle launched a bunch of AI services like vision, speech, and things like that. So the one I'm going to release this weekend is I focus on the HoloLens, as far as a device, I'm in charge of mobile and things like that as well, but that's been kind of my focus. And this latest one is using AI. You look out, it takes a picture of your room, tells you draws boxes around what you're looking at, labels them, and then speaks out what they are.
Right.
And that one's really doing it for me because you can see that helping vision impaired and Alzheimer's and things like that. So that, really, it's awesome. So that's the nature of the things that I do.
Awesome. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And, I'd like to dive into any advice and recommendations you have for folks getting into this. And maybe it can stem off a question Nicholas posted here. How much tech education or background is needed to become a developer, for instance?
Right. So I'm just going to give you guys praise left and right because that's what's great too about the circuit streams is it's broad. Like some of these I've seen, like I said, first of all, if you're taking a tutorial, that's obviously super narrow.
Right.
Or you're going somewhere else. I'm not going to name names, but they obviously, it almost seems like somebody's working on a thesis with their doctorate and they're kind of gearing your course. You know what I mean? This one's very broad. So if you're taking that boot camp, for example, you're getting a bit of the scripting, you're getting a bit of the dev, and that's great too. Like I wasn't looking for a little graphics, animation, Blender stuff, but I got a touch of it. That's good exposure, you know what I mean? Because then you're, like I say, cued into the whole ecosystem of it all. So depending on what you're coming in for, that boot camp is going to be enough scripting knowledge. And then you can take it from there, but that's going to be enough to get you. And then you take it from there in the direction you want. Right. So that would be my suggestion is for sure. And, you are completely just wasting time. It's, you know what I mean? It's a matter of time and efficiency. And then you take it from there. And just the other thing kind of on that same point is not necessarily do this, but this is what I did is if you have strength in a certain area and you're trying to bridge your career over to something else, kind of start with your strength and your comfort zone and then start bridging over to that area you want to be in. So that, you'll have that strength and yet you're learning. So
perfect. No, that makes sense. And hopefully that helped out with Nicholas's question. Great question, Nicholas. And I know Ismail had a similar question we could touch up on later on as well. But no, it was great to hear your insights here, Paul. And any final remarks in terms of, you mentioned if someone's looking to get into this space of real-time 3D, having some guided programs would be a good way forward. Seeing that people here might be looking to change careers, pivot careers, or get their first career as a creator. Any other potential final remarks or insights you want to share?
Yeah, just that also networking is
that's big.
Yeah. Yep. So and the circuit stream Slack. I sound like you paid me, but it's true. That circuit stream setup, it's really cool because you get access to the Slack channels from then on. And like I tune in every Thursday for the showcase stuff that everybody's putting out new stuff. And I see all this collaboration, these teams coming together and things like that. So yeah, it's tech and networking. I would say are the two big things. And enjoy yourself.
Perfect. No, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing all of this with us. We'll invite you back on for the Q&A at the very end because there's a lot of questions here. I see Andrew just posted a question. Older techie trying to relight the spark. So we'll bring you back and shed some light on that question there.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, Paul. We'll see you soon. That was awesome. Really appreciate it, Paul. Thank you so much for joining quickly to share your experience, journey, and some advice and recommendations. Thank you again. Now, with this, let's dive into the Unity Developer Bootcamp. Really get into the nitty-gritty of this. What does it entail? What's included? What does the curriculum look like? what skills will you learn and build, and what can you come out with? So with this here, the Unity Developer Bootcamp really has the goal to help bring in more creators in the world and provide career opportunities. And we're really excited to launch this Unity Bootcamp in April. Now, Circus Stream's Bootcamp here is a career-focused program that really prepares students for 3D development industry. And this is designed to help you launch your career in 3D development, which features a project-driven curriculum and is supported with career coaching and mentorship with industry practitioners in a top-notch environment. Now, over the course of 24 weeks, you will attend live online lessons as well as engage in a variety of individual and team projects. And the goal is to give you the technical skills to become a Unity developer and a comprehensive understanding of the process and workflows used in the industry. Now, with the bootcamp here, there are live sessions, and it's 5 hours of live online teaching per week, split into two 2.5-hour sessions. And the bootcamp is project-based and focused on preparing, learners like yourselves for landing a job as a Unity developer. Now, there are also career services, and from day one, you will receive ongoing career support and access to career services. And our career services run concurrently with our technical training and are divided into different stages that encompass the student journey. It's a mix of group workshops led by our career services team, one-on-one sessions, and guest lectures from industry experts. Now, challenges. You'll have access to challenges to really help supplement your understanding of the material. A bi-weekly challenge will be provided for you to work on and submit work to get feedback from our team and these industry experts we've partnered with. Now, private one-on-ones over the course of the 24 weeks, you'll have access to on-demand support and one-on-one sessions with qualified experts that will help you build your projects, answer any questions you may have, and support you for the duration of the program and even afterwards through our community channels like Slack and potentially Discord that we may launch. Now, office hours. Office hours available every business day, and you can use the time to drop in and meet with instructors to ask any questions you have to help work through specific problems or expand on bigger questions about the course or the industry. And lastly, weekly labs. They happen every Saturday and are 5 hours long. And the lab is a dynamic environment to foster your skills and enrich your learning experience. And the labs will present different activities that can be a series of lectures from industry experts, technical workshops where you will learn to build themed projects, career workshops, hackathons, game jams, and time to work on your capstone project with the support of the TAs. So, what does the experience look like? Well, these are some of the things that you can get out of it. Really thinking like a developer. While learning technical skills to become a Unity 3D developer, you'll also be able to think critically and solve complex problems by breaking them down into smaller ones. And by the end of the bootcamp, you'll be able to apply the methods, techniques, and tools you've learned in any other project or domain. So while this program focuses on Unity, you will be able to apply your learnings to other game engines and programming languages with less time and effort. Project-based approach. Portfolios are a great way to demonstrate the competencies you would list on a resume or talk about in an interview. And they allow you to show what you can do and not just tell. During the bootcamp, you'll learn the core concepts of Unity and C# development in context while building different applications. And you'll be able to set yourself apart to employers by showcasing collaborative work built for your midterm sprint and capstone project. Now, lifetime community. We love the community here and really foster it. During and after the bootcamp, you will have access to a highly engaged community with thousands of alumni from various backgrounds, developers, designers, 3D artists, entrepreneurs from all over the world. And the community is constantly helping each other and sharing opportunities, tips, resources, and job offers as well. And then lastly, focused on your professional goals. Now, this is through a combination of technical coaching and career coaching that will support you on your professional goals from day one. So, with this, I would love to invite Jerry Medeiros onto the stage here. Jerry is our Director of Education here at Circus Stream, and I'd love to take this time to go through with Jerry to really show you what the content and the curriculum looks like. Jerry, thanks for joining. It's great seeing you.
Hello, can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you in here. Yes, are you in the office today,
I am, yeah. So we're gonna have just this weird angle. That's the best I can
hey?
have. I'm so sorry, but that's it for today.
No worries, Jerry. Appreciate you joining us. Really, it's an honor to have you. Now, Jerry, I'd love to touch on a little bit about what students will learn, and if you don't mind going through these points and kind of highlighting why it's important, that would be wonderful.
Sure, definitely. Yeah. So let me just mute my notifications here. There we go. Yeah. So the first thing that's super important about this boot camp is that the intention is to make sure everyone that joins it are ready to start working as a developer, specifically with Unity now. So we're gonna be touching on lots of different topics that can help you get there. So if you go like to a shorter course or like an intro course, of course you learn how to do things, but not necessarily in the better way, properly in a collaborative way. So that's what we are making different with this boot camp. It's gonna make sure that you have all of the skills and most of the tools that people are using there. So a couple of things that we're gonna be touching on. The first one is like main concepts related to computer science, how to think about software, how to think about better algorithms, how to solve things and know the consequences of your solution. Because usually for beginners, you just solve the problem and that's it.
Right.
But you don't take into consideration how long it's going to take, the memory, and things that are really important, especially at scale. So we're going to make sure that everyone knows about it. uh, some principles related to software engineering, like how do I plan a software? I have a problem. Instead of just like writing my code right away, what are the consequences of my decisions? What kinds types of architectures I should be using? Design patterns, how to make it scalable, maintainable, easy to read. So there are lots of things there. They are beyond just like making it work, that for a professional it's super super important. So we're going to be touching on those things as well. Another thing is collaborative tools, like how do you work in a team? If you have a team of 5 people, 10 people, how do you decide what to do, how long things are going to take, how do you
Hmm.
communicate your tests and the dependencies, how do you evaluate your work? So we're going to be spending some time on working collaboratively in this interactive process. That is everyone working together and making decisions together. So we're going to be emulating what you're going to be seeing in the industry, because you do not work alone unless you're like indie dev, and that can happen. But most of the times you have a team, be it small one or big one, and you need to know how to fit in that team and to work properly with more people. So we're going to be working a lot on those frameworks and workflows, and it's going to be in context. So it's basically the same thing you're going to be seeing in the industry out there. Of course, it's a Unity course, so we're going to be dedicating lots of times to Unity things. So we're going to be learning the main classes and APIs and what is possible to do. We're going to be discussing big projects, smaller projects, multiplayer. So how to communicate with servers. So we're going to have lots of interactions regarding what's possible to do in Unity and what people are doing there in games and in other industries as well. So this is super cool. And we're going to be using a variety of different tools to emulate like a working environment. So we're going to be learning tools for keeping your work organized and to communicate your tasks. So we're going to be working with a couple of those. Also, the developing the IDs. Usually, we work Visual Studio. We work with Visual Studio, but not like always in the best way, using everything that the tool has to offer. So we're going to be
Hmm.
exercising using lots of different tools that make the communication a lot better and the quality of the code a lot better. Version control. So the I think, just to summarize, like the point is, it's a lot of technical training, but it's more than that. It's also like readiness for work and
Right.
for joining a company with a team and knowing what to do there since day one. So this is gonna be super helpful for everyone that is looking for a job or transitioning career. It's more than just the technical piece. It's like how to think as a developer and how to work as a developer and how to fit into this team. But yeah, that's basically it.
Oh, that's super helpful and really hit the nail on the head. Technical aspects that people will learn in skills, but also how to work with teams, how to collaborate with other developers, designers, maybe manage these teams as well. So really, as you said, workplace environments, how to actually work in the space and not only bringing in the skills that you've learned, whether it's through the boot camp or elsewhere there. Thank you, Jerry. That means a lot. Now, I'd love to dive into the Unity Developer Bootcamp curriculum. So really, what's covered in each, I guess you could say, theme and throughout certain weeks, because I'm sure this will help the audience wrap their heads around, okay, what's the approach? We know what we're going to learn, but how is it broken down? Do you mind going through that with us?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So this is just an overview. Like it's a lot of content and lots of different projects going on. So this is just an overview. If someone has any more specific questions, I can answer them later. But basically, the course is organized in modules, and every module encompasses a project. So every module going to be working on a project, be it a class project where you're going to be involved with the instructor, or a personal team project that are going to be working with your peers, but it's all about the collaboration and the projects that we can build. So every module encompasses a project there. So starting in the first weeks, we're going to be focusing on C Sharp. We know that most people joining this course, they already know C Sharp to some extent, they have some experience, but we want to do a warm up and reflect on things that we have been doing and making sure that everyone is at the same page. We're going to be discussing some advanced concepts that we usually don't cover in our intro courses in our C Sharp intro course and the XR Dev. So it's going to be more focused, more extensive, more specialized, but it's basically like a warm up for everyone to understand how we're going to be working, how the projects are going to work, and how it's going to go. Then the second module, collaborative tools, we're going to be working in another project, but this time the students are going to be working together with the mentorship of the instructor, of course, but on how to make decisions. So we have a base project, but we need to collaborate to organize our work, our tasks, and everything. So we're going to be introducing agile development here, the ceremonies, how people get together and discuss about things, make decisions, decide how long or find out how long a task is going to take, and if it takes longer, what we do. So it's basically like the day-to-day of working in a development project. Then we have another project that is a little bit more complex in Unity. That's going to be bigger in scale. So we're going to need to think about design patterns, how to make it scalable. So we're going to be working on one more project using more Unity APIs. And then midway, we have the midterm project, which is my favorite part. It's going to be another project where all the students are going to get together in groups to build something. So we have a base project and people are going to build on top of that. But now it's less supervised, let's say, less prescriptive. So the teams are going to need to find out what they want to add to the project and how. They're going to need to run the ceremonies. So it's basically like we're going to be emulating this environment. The instructor, of course, is going to be there, but we want to see the students doing it, like the participants actually exercising everything that they learned up to this point. So basically, it's like a big check-in. We're going to be working on a nice project, everyone together in different groups, in different projects, and it's another piece of portfolio. And they're going to be assessing, evaluating not only what the students are building, but how they are deciding, how they are documenting. So it's going to be a very nice moment. I think it's one of my favorite ones out there. Then we're moving to API integrations and persistent databases. So one thing, if you're like a game developer or if you're like application developer in Unity, oftentimes you're going to need to integrate things like third-party things into your project. So in this module, we're going to be discussing databases, third-party services. So if I need to log analytics, for example, or like to change the content when the game is already published or my project is already published. So how can I do that? We're going to be discussing servers and multiplayer and other types of integration. So it's beyond what Unity does, but what we can bring into Unity to make our projects bigger and more professional, more interesting. And then last but not least, we have optimization. So this one is super important as well. We're going to be discussing some strategies on how to identify performance gaps in our applications and how to fix them. Also, coding tips like how can I write my code in a way that it can improve the optimization, and how to use the Unity tools to identify problems and fix them. So it's going to be very interesting. We're going to be
Great.
working in another project there. And in the end, we have the Capstone project. So this is basically where all of the experience acquired during the bootcamp is going to culminate. So every student in small groups, they're going to decide what they want to build as their final project, and they have the freedom to do whatever they want. So if you want to do a game or a VR application or well, what you have in your home there, you can do anything. Of course, we're going to be assessing, so there are some boundaries there. But the reason here, or the main goal here, is that everyone gets together to put everything that they learn into one project that they're going to pitch in the end. So this is
Great.
going to be like your main piece of portfolio because it can be anything. Right into up until this point, we are providing some ideas and base projects, but here not really. So you're gonna need to come up with your project, strategize around it to make sure it's possible to build in the time that you have, and make the decisions like what I can do, what I cannot do in this project, and then in the end, it's gonna be your main piece of portfolio, so you can use that to like as a piece of portfolio to apply for jobs and to show the employers that you know what you're doing, that you built something cool. So of course you can use that with the other projects as well, but this one is all on you. It's basically wherever you want to build that makes sense into this context. And
Right.
that's basically it. So in the end, we're gonna have some industry session with people that are hiring, people that can give feedback and give directions on where to go from there. So basically, you're going to be pitching your process and your project in the end. And that's it. It's a
That's
why.
That's exciting. No, and thanks for sharing that, Jerry. And kind of stemming off this last piece, sharing the Capstone project and other projects. Barsha had a question, and she was asking, or she, what is the ratio of group projects and individual projects? Is the project on pitch day a group project?
So all of them are group projects. The only one that can be individual is the capstone, so that can be individual. We don't, but we recommend that you do that like at least in a small group because that's all about like knowing how to work in groups is something very very important for a job. So all of the course projects they are group projects
Right.
because this is like a core thing about being a professional developer, knowing how to work in groups and how to coordinate the work. So they are all group projects. We have some
Hmm.
challenge. We are like individual, but they're not like big projects. They're just more like directions, things that you can experiment with. But the course projects, they're all group. And in some of them, the instructor is going to be more involved. In some of them, they're going to be less involved. But they are the majority of them are group projects. For the capstone, you can decide if you want to do it alone. I personally don't recommend it, but that's your decision. But that's the only one that can be alone. The other ones they don't work alone. You need to have people giving input and making decisions with you.
Right. Perfect. No, so really kind of illustrating that workplace, environment and working with others and whatnot for most of the projects. Perfect.
Exactly.
No, that makes sense. Awesome. Well, with that, Jerry, there are some questions here in the tab that we'll get to afterwards. For instance, Elias there posted about cloud technologies, but we'll answer that at the very end there. Thank you, Jerry, for joining. Really appreciate it. And probably invite you back on in about 10-15 minutes or so as we enter the Q&A here.
All right. See you in a while.
Thank you, Jerry. Take care. Fabulous. Awesome. Well, let me actually pull this one out. That's great. So, really appreciate you taking the time here, Jerry, to really just go in depth about what the curriculum entails and what you can get out of it. But with this, we've got a lot of industry experts who will be supporting us throughout the boot camp, who have helped as well and really committed to offering feedback and even in the weekly labs, shedding light on their experiences and helping you prepare for your next role. And this is just some of our curriculum advisory board for the Unity Developer Bootcamp. We have Joey, head of design at Meta, Patricia, who is the team lead at IBM, Rick Neal, who runs the Certified Creator Network at Unity, Kirsten Torrance, the head of learning engineering at Tailspin, Jeremy Rowland, XR application development manager at Accenture, and Aletha Singleton, author of UX for XR Toolkit, alongside other folks that just couldn't fit into one slide here, but really, really value the input and the support they'll be offering throughout the bootcamp there as well. So with this, what are some of the careers that you can expect or look into in real-time 3D? And really, your career might not even be listed here yet. We've seen a lot of interesting metaverse titles and positions come up. But for instance, there's AR, VR development and design, game development and design, 3D arts and graphics, as well as various different roles like simulation engineers, project managers, instructional designers, composers and sound designers as well, UX, UI designers and 3D product managers, and much more. And then Sonia in the chat, metaverse architect. It's going to be. If it's not here already, you've already got it, and it'll come up. But so many opportunities when learning this technology and working with engines like Unity. And really, to just give you a flavor of, what else Unity can do, we've shown you a couple of clips that highlight a lot of different experiences you can build with Unity. But I'm going to share less than a minute video to show you some cutting edge AR and VR games that have been made with Unity that you yourselves might have played before or experienced. So here's a about a minute clip that I'm going to share with you all. Nice. Love it. I myself have played a lot of those games that I didn't know were made by Unity until about a couple months ago, and they've been around for a while. But super exciting to see. There's so much you can do with the Unity engine, and here are just some of our students and where they've gone afterwards, or some of the success and opportunities we've seen. For instance, Lee Walker is now a solutions architect at Kaleidoscope XR. We had Tenny, who was with Facebook Reality Labs, join us, and now is a co-founder at his own company, Medicines. Andrew Alderetti, an XR developer with Cine Concerts. And then we've had Jennifer Swan and Aileen Zhu get accepted into Oculus's Launchpad programs after taking our courses to continue their work with the support and funding of Oculus. And last but not least, Tara, who was working at WeWork, then transitioned into the 3D space as a project manager with Unity Technologies there. Now, with this, the Unity Developer Bootcamp does start on April 11th, and the application deadline is March 29th, which is next Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And again, it's 24 weeks long with up to, if not more than 16 hours of weekly live training and support. And, if this is something that you're interested in getting into, let's dive into the admissions process here. For the admissions process, you'll complete an application. So it's an online application where you'll provide some background information about yourself and your prior experience. It is recommended that you have some sort of foundation in Unity before starting this program. And with that, we'll really judge and see if you'll be successful by an entrance assessment. So we'll ask you to complete a brief entrance assessment, which will help us predict your ability to be successful at Circus Stream and in your future career in real-time 3D. And the test consists of 20 questions, if I'm not mistaken, based on basic Unity concepts. And you'll have to answer 10 questions correctly to pass. And lastly, there's the interview. And if you're successful after completing the entrance assessment, we'll invite you to a 30, 45-minute Zoom interview with our career services team. And this is really designed to better understand your goals, background for applying to the program. And if successful, you'll be selected to proceed with the boot camp. We'll send you an email 1 to 2 days afterwards, and you can get started then there. So, getting into our March Madness sale here at Circus Stream until April 4th. This is applicable to all of our courses and programs we offer here, including the Unity Developer Bootcamp. And really, this is probably one of the best values of the March Madness sale we have going on. So with this, once you've completed our assessment test and admissions interview, you'll be asked to secure your seat by making a $1,000 non-refundable deposit. And to complete your enrollment into the course, there are a few ways to finance your tuition. Now, the cost of the bootcamp was $14.99.5, but with our sale, 15% off, it's $11,470. And students that pay in full can take advantage of early registration pricing, which offers an additional $1,500 off. And to secure that seat again, there is that non-refundable deposit of $1,000 required. Now, we do have a launch scholarship available, and there are 2 seats left for the launch scholarship. So for our inaugural cohort, we're providing several scholarships for a limited time, for a limited number of seats, and we have 2 left. And this is really an effort to provide validation and credibility for this first launch. So we've dedicated over $100,000 to aspiring Unity developers who are committed to a career change. And those who are interested in the launch scholarship will receive $7,000 towards their bootcamp tuition there. Now, for those of you in the US, we are partnered with Climb Credit, and this is available for US citizens and permanent residents. Climb provides accessible, affordable loans to attend trainings, which will improve earning potential. And Climb offers these flexible payment plans and loans as long as 5 years, with payments as low as $250 per month. And you can also take advantage of flexible interest-free options during the program, and you won't need to make your first payment until the first month of the course. And lastly, Circus Stream does offer payment plans as well, up to 3-month payment plans. And these monthly installments begin when the first payment is made upon registration. Now, we're also working to partner with other third-party organizations and to offer additional financing options for Canadians, Europeans, and UK citizens. And with that, we've also dedicated scholarships, partnering with nonprofit organizations to really offer career opportunities to some underrepresented communities out there. And more information will be sent out to those communities and members who may be tuned into the webinar here today. But if you do have questions, schedule a call with an enrollment advisory member or download the syllabus. Apply now, https://circuitstream.com/bootcamp. And I'm sure my colleague Dan will toss it in the chat here. Now, again, we have this March Madness sale. It's not only available for the Unity Developer Bootcamp, but it's 15% off our interaction design and prototyping for XR course, 15% off the XR development with Unity program. These are 10-week courses and programs really designed to upskill and not really to prepare you for that creator role. But if you're interested in any of these courses and programs, they're 10 weeks. May 17th is the start of our next XR development course. April 20th is the XR interaction design and prototyping course. And if you're interested in those, again, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. We'd be more than happy to see which courses would fit best with your interests and needs. And again, the March Madness sale is applicable to the bootcamp today as well. And feel free, our admissions team will help out with any questions you have. Ro, Leanne, Tyler, Marvell, Brendan, Shoshana, and some other folks who I haven't listed here would be more than happy to answer your questions, have a friendly chat, and help set some expectations up if this is something that you're considering. So thank you all. Let's get the Q&A session going here. I know we've got Paul who answered some questions in the background there, but I'd love to invite Paul and Jerry back onto the stage here just to go through some questions that we may have missed. And let's get that going there. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for joining.
Hello.
All right, let's see if we can get us three on the screen. There it is.
There
Awesome.
you go. Perfect.
Hey, Paul, thanks for answering some of those questions backstage there. Super helpful. I think Ismail left, but Alejandro, Barsha, Andrew, if there are any follow-ups, Ilias, let us know. We'd be happy to touch base on those. But this one is mainly for yourself here, Jerry, I would say. Ilias was asking, will we get into how to leverage cloud technologies if we wanted to leverage in one of our projects?
Yes, that's a good question. There is one module, a specific module. We're going to be talking about integrations, APIs, multiplayer in general, and we're going to be talking a lot about cloud services and how to integrate them. We're not going to be, well, there are lots out there and it's hard to choose. So we're going to be discussing like what they do and why we use them and how to integrate them in a general sense. And then you can decide like if you want to use something provided by IBM or Google or Amazon. So there are different providers there and different companies are going to work with different things. So we're going to go over like the possibilities and the types of services and how to integrate like from a technical perspective, how to understand their documentation and REST APIs and how to bring their SDKs into there. So yes, we're going to be doing it and discussing that. And then if you join a company that uses another one provided by another provider, usually they look very similar. They work very similarly. The documentation is very important. So knowing how to work with technical documentation is something that helps. So yes, we're going to be diving into that and using that into one project. And then if you want to use that in your own Capstone project as well, that would be great. I would love to see it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. Now, one thing that for those of you who are still tuned on here, Paul Parkinson is actually also a curriculum advisory board member, and will be helping us tailor the content and the curriculum with his years of experience there. So, Paul, honestly, thank you for joining this webinar. Thank you for supporting the curriculum as well, and for being one of the members to help shape the future of our workforce there.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Of course, my pleasure. Now, here's one from Sonia. Sonia, great seeing you as always on these. Will there be a pre-party to get to know others and find a team? Will the team change during the boot camp?
Those are really good questions. So yes, the first lab on Saturday, we have some nice things coming on there. So we're gonna have some guest speakers, but we're also gonna get some team building and team bonding activities. So the very first thing is gonna be about knowing everyone, their backgrounds, what they're there, what they're good at, what they're looking for, and getting to know each other so you can work on teams. And during the bootcamp, yes, the teams can or cannot change. It's not prescriptive. So we're going to work together on trying to pair different people in different moments so you can get to work with everyone that you want to work with. But yes, we're going to start with that. You're going to get to know everyone in the boot camp and their aspirations, why they're there, and then we go from there. It's going to be super, super cool.
That's awesome. And I did see, Paul, you answered Elias's question about the persistent databases used for multiplayer games in the cloud. Great question, Elias. And, that was super helpful, Paul. Really appreciate you answering.
Yeah, and it's like Jerry was saying, a lot of it's REST calls.
Right.
And so they're going to teach you REST calls, take it from there. Everybody's using, pretty similar mechanisms. So you're covered. Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. That makes sense.
Just say that Oracle is another option.
Yes, it is. and maybe, well, I'm just like proposing this live for everyone. We can have you during that period, like in a guest lecture, talking about specifics of Oracle, like how it works. And that's something we're going to be doing with a bunch of different technologies and partners. So it would be awesome to have you talking about specifics of Oracle, like what they offer for gaming and for cloud options. So yes, it's another option. It's a great one. And we could like have you there talking about it.
Right. Perfect.
Awesome. Now, Paul, I did see you answered Andrew's question as well as him saying he's an older techie trying to relight the spark. And that question for you, do you feel like there's an opportunity in Unity and getting
I thought he
hired?
was talking about me at first. So yes, for my sake, I'm going to answer yes. Yeah, yeah. From one old techie to another, there definitely is. And I've been with just every single week, like I said there, literally every week, more and more people are contacting, and just every facet of life really is going to be touched by this. So there's no doubt about it. Yeah, and that's just the part of parlaying what you know already into this field. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, no, that's great insights there. Now here's one from David, and David's asking, if you get the scholarship, do you have to pay upfront still? I don't believe so. I think we have some payment plans available there. You can go through Climb as well. And if you do that upfront payment, you still might be eligible for the early bird discount. So, well, you know what? We'll get back to you there, David. I'll note down your question here so we don't miss it. But great question. Great question. Thank you. Now, this one's for Jerry, and Barsha's asking, Jerry, how many teachers are going to be teaching the boot camp in total? And are they going to be from the advisory group?
That's a really good question. And it's hard to answer because we're a very dynamic company and it might depend. So, like during the lectures, like the regular lectures, it's going to be probably two instructors. And during the labs, that's when the thing gets crazy because, yes, we might have people from the advisory group, people from tech companies. So, during the labs, we have some lectures, like guest lectures, and it's going to go crazy, but the core instructors might be two, and it might change depending. But for one-on-ones, you have access to all of our instructors. So we have like around 10 people that you can choose, read their backgrounds, and book with the ones that are more interesting for you based on their availability. So yeah, you have access to a network of instructors in different extents. So the class is going to be probably one or two. During the labs, we're going to have many from different backgrounds, from different industries. And during the one-on-ones, you're gonna have like 8 to 10 that you can choose. You can read their profiles, watch their intro video, see the ones that have more intersection with what you want to build, who you want to do, and yeah. So it's a lot of people that are gonna be exposed to. It's hard to say like a number, but you're gonna be exposed to lots of great people there.
Perfect. Thank you, Jerry. Now here's one suggestion from Elias. One suggestion: how about inviting investors in addition to potential employers? Maybe someone has an interesting project that could use some funding. I love it. I
Amazing.
love it. That's a great suggestion, and there's a few actually in mind that we have been discussing about this. So let me work on that, Elias. I'll spearhead that, and
Yeah.
we'll get some on board there as well.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think we're gonna need to see. It's the first time we're running boot camp, so we're gonna need to see what the students are producing. We're very like career oriented and job oriented, but of course, I expect that some people decide to build business or have ideas that they want investment. So yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to see it happening.
Perfect. Awesome. Now here's a question from Basha again about the timing of the boot camp. Are they going to be conducted during the day or evening, asking for people who are working in a full-time job? That's a great question. Now, I believe that the schedule is Mondays and Wednesdays in the evenings, 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time. So Monday 6:30 to 9, Wednesday 6:30 to 9. And then those Saturday weekly labs are currently going to be held from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So it is in the evenings, depending on where you are in the world. And yes, I mean, it is a career focused boot camp. Even if you are working a full time job and want to get into another role as a creator, it'd be a good fit. But great question, Barsha. Let's see. Good to know. Thank you. It looks like those were all the questions in the questions tab. So I'm going to wait a minute or so, see if there are any final questions coming in or comments in the chat. But with that, slowly going to conclude things here. Mondays, Wednesdays, 6:30 from Sonia. Yep, Saturdays, 12 to 5. That's it. I was right. Awesome. Thank you, Sonia, for posting that in the chat there. But thank you to Paul for taking the time here. I know you're super busy with work, so really appreciate you joining us here today and answering questions, sharing your insights and journey. And we're really looking forward to kicking off this boot camp with your support and future iterations to the curriculum as we continue to build on it. So thanks again, Paul. Really appreciate it.
Definitely. I love talking to you guys. You know that.
And for Jerry, thank you as well. I know you're very busy and had to go to the office today. You made it work. Thank you so much for joining myself and diving into the curriculum. Really to just kind of show people what skills will they be building, why are these skills are important, and what's the structure and approach to everything. So, gentlemen, hats off. Thank you so much for your time here today. And for all of you tuned into the workshop still and webinar, thank you for joining us. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to help out any way we can and have a friendly chat. And with that, we've got a few other people commenting. William, thank you. Thank you, William, for joining. And I saw Andrew typing as well earlier. Sonia, thank you for joining, Andrew, as well. Kalila, thanks, everyone. I'll give you some time back in the day here, and we're always happy to help. We'll hope to see you in the boot camp or future workshops and webinars or some of the other courses. Check out the March Madness sale live until April 4th. But thanks again, everyone. Paul, Jerry.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks.
Take care, folks.